Happy New Year, everybody. It's the 1st of 2025, and I'm going to start doing these videos where I just talk a little bit about what's going on, and I'm going to try to do them throughout the year. It's a good way to kind of journal in video format, and I really enjoy my life. I get to do a lot of wonderful things. I get to meet a lot of wonderful people, and so I like to talk about it a little bit, and not in a braggy way, but in a way that I have some exciting things happen, and I think it would be entertaining for me at least to go back and watch them, and if you are watching and would enjoy it too, that'd be great. So tonight, we did a thing at my mom's house tonight. We went over to Mom and Sherry's house, and we lost Dad about 5 years ago this month. And at this time of year, it's always, kind of on your heart when you lose somebody like that. But Dad started a tradition a long time ago, and I'm not even really sure where he got the idea from, but he started a tradition with us kids that we did something called Dream Night, where near the end of the year, we would sit down and he would give us all a piece of paper, and we would, almost every night, for many of the nights that we were home, we always had devotions together as a family. So we'd sit around in a circle. Dad would read a portion of scripture, whether it's a chapter, or if it was too long, he would cut it down in half or whatever. But he would read a little bit of scripture, and then we would go around the room, and if anybody had anything that they wanted to pray for, they would mention it. Hey, I got a test tomorrow, or hey, this person was sick, or something like that. And then we would say, Dad would pray real quick, and then we would say the Lord's Prayer together. And this was a tradition that we kind of kept in our home for a lot of years. And there were a few times, moving from place to place where we wouldn't do it. But for the most part, it was pretty common in our home. That was something that we did. We prayed together. And then we weren't allowed to have arguments in the home throughout the week. Another tradition that we had. We weren't allowed to have arguments throughout the week. If we started raising our voice to one another, Mom didn't like that. She wouldn't like that to be happening in the home. So we had a Friday night gripe session, Dad would call it, where if we had an argument or we were, having a hard time with somebody in the household, my brother and I or my sisters, and we would have to save it until Friday night, and then at devotions during the gripe session, you were allowed to bring up, well, by then, most of the time, we'd forgotten what we were fighting about. But, and then sometimes we'd remember, and we'd go around a little bit. Dad would mediate, and then we'd get right back to devotions or whatever. But there was this other tradition that we did near the end of the year every year called Dream Night. And we would sit down, Dad give us paper, and we'd sit in a circle, and we would write down our goals. And there were several different iterations of this, different ways that he would do it. So sometimes we would write our spiritual goals, and then our natural goals, or our financial things, or short-term, long-term. Sometimes we'd write, in the next year, in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. But it was Dream Night, and we were allowed to put anything we wanted to on these papers. If we wanted to be a millionaire, we were allowed to put that on there. If we wanted to, do something crazy, we would put it on there. We want to try this out. We want to try skydiving, or I want to become a pilot, or all of these things, that kids would put on these things. So we would sit down every year, and we would write these things down. And over the years, we got better at putting down the goals, and we'd look at the year in front of us and have them in front of us. And there were many times that we would go back. Dad would he would fold them all and put them in his Bible. There were many times that he would read them the following year, and come to find out that a lot of those things had happened. Not the big things like becoming a pilot or skydiving or something like that, maybe, but for us, there was a lot of things we put on there, like, I want this specific book, or I want this thing or that thing. There's a funny story, actually, that my big sister Sharon put on there that one year that she wanted a little redheaded sister, and that was pretty funny because Mom and Dad were done having kids at that time. And so she put on there, I want a little redheaded sister. And before that year was out, I guess Mom and Dad found out that they were pregnant. And sure enough, in Tucson, Arizona, my little sister was born, redheaded caboose of the LaFontaine family, my dad used to call her. So it was always a really precious tradition for our family, and it's something that's really close to our hearts. So I've been doing it with my family in our home here. I carried that tradition on, and so every year we'll try to sit down and do those things and talk about the coming year. So Mom wanted to do it this year, so we all went over to Mom's house and Sherry's house over there, and we went around the room. My older sister and Henry were there. The Van Wykes were there. Their children and their grandchildren were there. And we went around the room. Even the grandkids wrote down, what they wanted to do. And we kind of, Sherry actually did, my sister Sherry did these goals for 2025 and actually made forms and everything that we could fill out. And it was a great time. We all went around and put these things down, and we talked about, she had several categories. So the categories were relationship goals for 2025. It's a good one. Spiritual goals, financial goals, work goals, like employment and things. Health goals, which is important. Home, things around the home that you want to do, goals around the home. A bucket list is just the dream category where you can put anything on there, any crazy stuff on there you want. And then additional stuff. She had additional columns. So it's a really great idea. And I like to do it because you start to talk about those things and think about things, and a lot of times those things begin to manifest themselves over time when you think in that direction. I think it's a good way for kids to get out of the day-to-day grind that they get into, and it's a way for them to start to look out at the future. It's the beginning process of building a plan is to begin to pull your consciousness out of where you're at right here and look and say, what's up there, and what can happen, what's the potential things that can happen. So I think it's a healthy thing. It's a healthy thing psychologically to do. This year we kind of did a little bit of we expanded on the idea a little bit, and once everybody had written it down, and it can be as private as you want it to. Dad never made us make it public if we didn't want to make it public, and I don't do that either. If somebody doesn't want to read something or somebody doesn't want to say what it was, but a lot of times we'll go around the circle and people can say, write down, and then they can speak it to everybody, and we'll go around the circle and let people say. So whatever you're willing to share, you're allowed to share. So it was nice. Everybody went around and we did that. And then I thought it'd be kind of a neat idea for those of us who did Dream Night last year to go around the circle again and just say, what was 2024 like, and how did we do? And it was really similar. It got really almost solemn. There was some tears shed and everything, but we went around the circle, and it was really great because last year was rough for a lot of people, and our family included, members of our family. Sharon has been sick. She's been twice now diagnosed, or had cancer, and then was healed of the cancer, and the cancer went away, and then now they're saying some other cells and things are back, and it's been a roller coaster ride just with her and the family. It's been rough, for them to go through this. It's emotional up and down, and we trust in God for these things. We believe in healing, and we believe she'll be healed again. That's fine, but it's still emotional. And then through that process, is the economy was really rough on us and a lot of friends, and I thank God I had good employment and everything like that. But it was still, for a lot of people, it was a rough year. So we're going around the circle, and we were talking about how rough some of those things were, but we also were talking about how thankful we were that here we sat in the room, and we sat in the room with people that we loved, people that have been around, people that we could depend on, our family members. We sat in a warm home and not out in the cold with a roof over our heads. And there was just so much to be thankful for, and there was a lot of thankfulness in the room. We talked about some of the things that we had set goals for last year. A couple of mine were, I wanted to lose weight this year because I'm, if you can't tell, I'm very overweight, and it's been a struggle for a really, really long time, and it gets me down. It's really hard to deal with. So I work on that, and I really wanted to work on it this year and get some help and talking to the doctor and everything. and to get on the right track and start moving the other direction. Well, I did. I got some help, and I got on some medicine that was helping a little bit, and I was off of it for a little while and then back on. But starting to do some intermittent fasting and even starting to get a little bit more motion, hopefully more in my life here as we're going. But anyway, throughout the year, I ended the year 30 pounds lighter than I did last year. So that was something to be really thankful for, that God helped me get through that and do that. I finished my book, although I'm still doing some editing. I did finish the book this year. The first book I was writing was a book for kind of a little bit of a encouragement letter to church musicians and people who serve in that capacity. And because I love church musicians and I'm passionate about that work, And so I finished that, and that was one of my goals that I'd written down last year, to finish that book. And so I felt pretty good. I got three different publishers that have made offers for me to get it published. So that was good. And there was a lot to be thankful for. Even with as hard as the world around us was and the economy was, there was a lot to be thankful for. And that's kind of how we concluded that conversation. And then we prayed together. We prayed over the dream night goals and things that we had. And it was just a wonderful time of people around us that we love, and knowing that the future is bright, because the God we trusted in last year is the same God that's here in 2025. So we have nothing to worry about at all. So anyway, that was that. And let's see what else is going on. It was just a great time. I highly recommend it if you want to do it with your family as well. Tomorrow we leave. One of the goals I've had is I want to try to help more churches that struggle with the things that my core competency. I work for an AVL company, AVL Systems, and I do audio video lighting and for churches and church musicianship stuff, but mostly the equipment and getting things set up and I like doing training for people because there's all this equipment out there, right? And learning how to use that stuff. And I'm really passionate about it. I don't want to get talking too much about it. But an opportunity, I wanted to do more of that. It's one of the goals that I have, is to try to do more of that kind of work and help more people. And so an opportunity came up for us to go to, Amanda and I are going to go tomorrow. We leave for Washington, D.C. And there's a church up there, Brother Wall's church, and Brother Mike Wall's, and we're going to be going there, and we're going to get in there tomorrow evening sometime and assess and kind of look at everything and learn their system as best I can. And then on Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be training their people, or on Saturday, I'm going to be training their sound crew and their video crew on their own equipment, because it's a fairly new system. So they've got a lot of new equipment installed and maybe haven't learned all the menus and the depth of everything that is available for them technology-wise. So I'll take a peek at everything, do a quick assessment, and then tailor. I have a training program already with several, like 98 slides of audio, video training stuff, and so I'll go through all of that and pick out what would be relevant for them, and we'll get them trained. And then he's letting me talk to the musicians after lunch on Saturday. So we'll be talking to church musicians coming in, doing a sound check, and get an opportunity to chat with them and meet some more musicians. And I just had a great time. Last year we did a church musicians conference, and I got to rub shoulders with a lot of young new players that are coming up in church musicianship, and I'm really encouraged by this next generation. I have a lot of personal hurts and pains and grievances that I had over the years, where you get kind of hurt from that sharpening each other like steel on steel, that iron sharpens iron. And so you get little shards of and scars throughout the years of people that maybe said something mean to you or something like that. And I kind of work through those things, and I feel like over the years that those little hurts are there, but now I'm starting to meet a younger generation that don't have any of those hurts, and there's a lot more maturity. Many churches, they have a lot more maturity around them, so they won't have to suffer through some of those things. And they're making beautiful music and writing beautiful music. And songs are being written, and it's really encouraging time to worship the Lord. It's the end time. It's our last opportunity. If you're going to worship Him, I guess it's the best time. So anyway, DC. So we're going to be with them, and then Monday and Tuesday there, we're going to do some sightseeing, and we're going to go see some of the museums and things. On Tuesday, we're at the White House, and then Tuesday afternoon, I contacted our Congress representative and a congressman, and somebody from his office got back to me, and they're going to bring us into the Capitol, take us into the Capitol building, and do a tour with us there, and get to meet a representative, and just see things there. So I'll try to take some video of that and post it as well. But it should be just an outstanding time. I love American history. Amanda loves American history. She's never been to D.C. This will be her first time being in town there and seeing all of it. I was there when I was younger, but I didn't get as much time as I wanted to. So we're going to have a couple of days just to really see everything. I'm really excited about that. So that'll be good stuff. And maybe I'll even get to meet with the president, and we'll talk about really important things. I can't imagine what, but we can see those things are way above my pay grade, whatever. This funny side story, I am the president of my HOA board, so for our neighborhood. So my responsibility is about this big in comparison to everybody in Washington, D.C., but I'm going to go in there acting like I'm the president of all things. It was funny, after they nominated me and put me in as the president of the HOA, we were coming back up the sidewalk in front of the house, and Amanda was walking in front of me. I said, "Hold on just a second, hon," and she stopped, and I just pointed out over the neighborhood and over all the down the street and all the houses down the road, and I said, "All of this is my domain now. This is all my this is all my kingdom." So and I did ask the board because Amanda's now a trustee on the board, so she works on the trustee board. So I asked the board if it would be okay if we would make a mandate that she would have to call me Mr. President from now on, and nobody voted for that because they didn't want to get in trouble with her. So anyway, that's about it. My son is in Tennessee at Winter Youth Retreat. He'll be back sometime tomorrow night. Both daughters are healthy and everybody's doing good. Amanda is just perfect. Amanda is my wife. And that reminds me of the old Prairie Home Companion radio show that they used to have on NPR. Garrison Keillor. I guess he's passed away now, but they used to have an old radio show on there, and he would say, I can't remember the name of the town, Lake Wobegon, Minnesota, or whatever, where all the women are strong and the men are good looking and the children are above average, or something like that. So everything's good here in our little village. We're healthy and happy, and so I'll do these little videos a little bit, try to do one a day or something. I will say this though, if anybody knows, about 20 years ago I produced an album there's been a lot of music that I produced since then, so it was really hard for me to kind of remember this, but I was contacted by Chris Pope, who's a great musician and a fantastic man here in town, and a buddy of mine, and he is arranging a fundraiser for a woman that I produced for, Amy Nicole. It had to be 20 years ago or better. And I had produced the album, and I don't have that computer or those hard drives. I don't think I have it on any of the old hard drives, and I can't read the old hard drives with the new computers. So I ordered a thing because he's asking if I could find her tracks, the songs, that we could do, because she's failing. She's in bad health right now, needs a kidney transplant, and so we're going to try to find her music to be an encouragement, and maybe upload it and maybe get some sales, and that would help her. That would help her be able to pay for some of the medical bills and things like that. So her name is Amy Nicole. She's from Toledo, Ohio. If anybody out there happens to have a copy of her CD that she put out all those years ago, I don't even have a CD copy of it anywhere. I've been calling around asking the guys that I know from that were in the session and some people that were around during that time, but we haven't been able to find that. And if you don't know who she is, or you're not from that area or anything like that, it's fine. Just if you would say a prayer for Amy Nicole, that God would help her, to find a kidney or heal her kidneys. I've seen that happen before too. So either way. All right. Well, it's late. The family's already sleeping. I got to shut the light off here in the office and hit the sack for the trip tomorrow. So God bless.